Hello, so I'm here today at Northeastern University, my first college vlog, and this is also an accessibility review, but anyone who is just looking to see all of Northeastern will definitely enjoy it because I chose this as my first vlog because this is where I went for my undergraduate degree. So you may see some things that you wouldn't see in another vlog. So we're here at the home of the Huskies, as you can see, in the Curry Center right now. So before I get started, I'll tell you some things that we will show in the vlog today. So not only a full tour of Northeastern, and also I'll highlight some accessibility features, and we're also going to highlight Northeastern's Disability Advocacy Club, Diversability, and two students from that club are going to join us, Alexa and Emma, and we're going to talk to them a little bit about their experience at Northeastern. I actually commuted to Northeastern, and looking back, I definitely didn't get like the full college experience. I wasn't really confident about, living on my own, so that's why I definitely wanted to give their perspective because they both live on campus. So it's going to be a great vlog. I'll show the tunnel system. I'm going to show one of the events I went to as an alum recently, a Women Who Empower event, and just a full tour of Northeastern. So I will take you along now. Right now I'm on the second floor of the Curry Center. This is the student center. As you can see, there's some vending machines behind me. So I'm gonna flip the camera around so that you can see, because there's a lot that goes on in this building, a lot of offices for clubs and other things like getting your Husky card, which is super important. And then I'll also just give a look. A lot of students come here just to meet up, to study, to eat, because there's a food court on the bottom, which I'll show in a bit. So I'm going to turn the camera around now. So going down here, there's an entrance to the roof terrace. There's another entrance on the other side, and I don't believe any have any automatic powered door buttons, so that's unfortunate. But this is where you can go. It's not really nice out today, but to hang outside, right outside the Curry Center. So again, these are some of the student offices, like for clubs. There's magazines and publications in the university. There's multiple ones of those, so I wouldn't even be able to list them all. So it's normally not this empty. This is a Sunday, so keep that in mind. That is the other entrance to the roof terrace. So this is the frat and sorority life suite, and these are some new types of seats than when I got here. So it's nice that they have the little spot for the laptop. But yeah, so they're always renovating here. That's something, and updating. So that's some different furniture than when I was here. So the ballroom foyer has different events in there, not just ballroom activities, but they do have ballroom activities there. I know that, but I've also gone to other types of events in there. That's right in there. And they have this piano here, which I've never seen get played, but I'm sure it does. But yeah, you can reserve it right there. That's pretty cool. So now we'll head to the third and fourth floor, before I go reserve a seat. And those right there, those white machines, those are printers. So it's good to have those. If you just swipe with your Husky card, it's good to have those. I believe there used to be like activities in here, like pool and like ping pong. So I don't know if they're renovating that in there. So I'm on the third floor now, and I'm pretty sure the fourth floor is pretty much the same. I just wanted to highlight these. They have these all around to fill water bottles. I think these are mainly just offices. I've never actually been up here before. So I pretty much see offices and meeting rooms. I think that's it up here on the third floor for the most part. But of course, there's a lot of Husky, literal Husky statues around. As you'll see, like student government room is right behind me. Senate chambers, that's interesting. I'll just show around on this third floor, but I think the fourth floor is pretty much the same.
Yeah, and so my question
So now I'm on the first floor of the Curry Center. I love these little wipes they have. This is new, probably since COVID. This is something new I haven't seen before, a video phone for people who are deaf and hard of hearing. So that's awesome that they added that. So this right here is an additional seating area that I never really liked going on because it's like all like glass and I don't like heights, but I'm glad that it has automatic doors and ramps to make it an option for everyone. It's great that they have that, and I see I'm not going to show them just because it's live, but there's a radio show going on right behind me in the room. The studio theater. Actually, don't think I've ever been in here. This looks new. Okay, this is the wheelchair accessible entry into here. NU Gallery 360. I've honestly never even seen this. I don't know if I've just never gone on this floor before or never noticed that back ramp, or if this is new. I'm gonna have to find out, but NU Gallery 360 on Instagram. So I'm back now in L Hall, and I'm gonna just show you a little bit around here. This is where the main auditorium is, if there's like shows and whatnot, but there's still classes and finals that go on in there as well. Here's a picture from Northeastern's website of Blackman Auditorium with the lights on. I'll actually put a little clip. One of my friends doesn't go here, but she was part of a breakdancing event here, so I'll show that so you can see a little bit about what goes on in here. So here's all that goes on in L Hall. And this is the auditorium over here. The accessible entrance is down in the through the tunnel system, which I will show in a minute. So I just wanted to take a little time to show this husky. I know you've seen a lot of them in the vlogs today, but this one, as you can see, his nose is like golden, and that's because final season, this particular husky is said to have been good luck if you rub his nose before taking an exam. So that's just a little hint, some insider knowledge right there. And as you can see from the discoloration on his nose compared to the rest of them, a lot of people are looking for luck around final season. We're going to the lower level now. So we are in the tunnel system now. So as you can see, I just got out of L Hall and I'm in the basement. Here is some like signage behind me that kind of shows where we're going. So I'll show a little down on the opposite end over here. So I will show, so Dodge Hall, if here's the general map. This shows the whole tunnel system, which is great when it's snowing. And then I'll show down the hall here. This used to be where the DCR, the Disability Resource Center, was. We'll see if it's still here. Yep, I was correct. This is the Disability Resource Center here. So you can go right in there to request accommodations. And that would also be the spot where you would take exams if you need a private exam room or to meet with your disability resource counselor. Northeastern has consistently ranked in the top 10 of most accessible colleges. So, you know, it's good that they keep track of these things. I think one of the biggest reasons they rank high is because the campus is pretty clustered for the buildings. You know, it's not perfect, and there is an option where you can cluster your classes. Like for me, when I didn't use a scooter on campus, I asked them to cluster my classes so I could actually make it from class to class within the 10-minute time frame. So that's a plus because many campuses, as we know, are all spread out. So I will continue showing along the tunnel system. So this next part will look familiar. So this is the bottom floor of the Curry Center, which I was just in a minute ago. And here's a little sneak peek at the bookstore. So they do have real books here, but of course, plenty of merch. This is just a sneak peek because it is closed today. Today's a Sunday. But yeah, definitely so much. And if you notice, I was wearing my sweatshirt. I had to, of course. So that is the store right there. They're a big school on hockey. Basketball too is up and coming, so plenty of stuff to get there. So this is the food court of the Curry Center. Again, not everywhere is open today, but they got pizza, they got boba, and then they also have like microwaves and stuff down here. It's getting like to be lunchtime, so you know, much more filled. They got burgers. I don't know what this is. This is new. I don't know if, oh, Grubhub. Okay. This is like a survey thing. I'm not sure what that is. So they got Kigo Kitchen, Asian Kitchen, Popeyes, Common Honey. Honestly, not sure what that is. And this Starbucks in here is also home to After Hours. After Hours has Starbucks, but they also have events in here, like trivia, different stage performances, all that. So it's good they have a ramp to the stage. So this would be the stage. And then I will loop around in here. So I'm going back into the tunnel system now, just to show the full tunnel system. So here's another general map. Well, I want to go to the library. So that would be Snell Library. So let's see if I can find my way from memory. I don't know, I can't remember if I go down there or here. So we'll find out. Oh, going in the right direction. I see Snell Library. Okay, not losing it yet. Well, this is a very nice, smooth pathway for my scooter. Would be great for a Razor scooter too, honestly. But some people honestly have almost hit me with their bike on this campus. So now that I'm using my scooter, I'm kind of a little bit more in control now because I used to just be walking, but now I could hit people too. So equal opportunity, knocking people over. Snell Library, here we go. I'll go outside in a bit, but you'll see how much this is really helpful when it's cold out, which it does get cold out here. I'm gonna have to be using my winter hat and gloves when I do venture outside. So you will see that in a bit, and I didn't even notice these lights are turning on when I'm here. So that's good to know that it wouldn't be completely dark if you're going here at off hours. So I did have classes in here before. They do have classrooms down there. Let me see if I can see inside one of the classrooms. Okay, it's completely dark, but oh, there I am, hello. But you can see, you can't really see it. Oh, let me see if I zoom in. So they have converted most desks to this. I'll try to find a better example where there's light. but where the desk is attached to wheels. So for someone like me, I couldn't get out of that easily because I have problems getting out of regular chairs, never mind ones with wheels that are moving as I'm trying to get up. So I did get the accommodation of getting a table with a chair. It was a little tough because they did accommodate me, obviously, and it worked. But those type of little things lead to you kind of being like the outsider of the class. But it's just something to keep in mind, like when you're designing, like what's the purpose of this. Like the purpose of it probably was to facilitate group work easier, but then ironically the person who needs like the most accessibility like has the hardest time like getting together with their group, because I was just in a chair. But it worked. It was just something to keep in mind, that if you came here you may need to accommodate a different type of desk. Okay, so I'm out of the snow elevator now, a little out of breath because the button in there was kind of hard to push. So this is gonna be one of the older elevators. So it's just the little things to keep in mind that I kind of had to use my phone to hit it. Just little things you encounter. So I see the button there, still same thing. It's like in the middle of the outside. So I'm gonna turn my camera around in a bit to show you the Snell Library, and it's under construction right now, so that's important to keep in mind. So I didn't film that whole part, but the automatic door button wasn't working, so even though I don't go to school there, I will let them know about that. So those are the things you run into being disabled. Like the button can be there, but if it's not working, it's useless. It's actually worse than useless because it's even harder to open an automatic door when the button isn't working. But thankfully a student was looking to get in the area, so I said, I'll trade you, I'll open this door if you open that door. So it worked out. And this is like an alternative entrance to the Snell Library because they're under construction, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so I wasn't able to give a full tour of the Snell Library. I wasn't able to give a tour at all because I gave away that I was an alum. So because they're undergoing construction, they're not allowing any alums to use the library. I thought I just couldn't reserve a spot. Normally they do. Like I normally would have just left my license. This was years ago, so after the construction happens, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll try to see if I can post some pictures from their website of what the construction is going to look like. It's kind of like your standard college library, but just looks very modern, where there's like a lot of tables, a lot of spaces, areas to print, all of that. And then the different floor levels have different like levels of quiet. And of course there's books, and you can use the staff help to get the textbooks you need. So in that way, it's kind of your standard library. I did want to give a look around, and I only was able to give the lobby, but they are under construction, so it would have looked different anyway. So here's a look on their website of what they're going for with the library on each floor and the schedule about how they're going to open. So they do have 3D printing and recording studios, which they will be renovating as well to make creative design hubs, which is cool. And so they have all these different features that they are renovating. They also mentioned soundproof pods for video or phone calls, or probably for some people just screaming. Here's a little bit of a better look at the desk that I was referring to earlier. So now we are going outside of Snell Library into this elevator to go to the Isaac Bridge, also known as pedestrian crossing or PedX. That's to get to the newer buildings. Okay, going to the bridge. Yeah, you notice in the new elevators how the buttons are so much easy to push. It really makes a big difference though. These are not from Northeastern. These are just an example of the old elevator buttons that I'm talking about. And I found this picture online to show how they're raised. So if you're trying to hit them from an angle, from like a scooter, it makes it much more difficult than if they were flat. And it's funny, this picture was actually on Reddit under like a mildly irritating Reddit because the closed door button is actually off and there was nothing underneath it ever. So that maybe explains why these buttons actually never seem to work most of the time. Just going up. So that's Snow Library from the outside, and this is what the students who are not using the elevator going up. So this is the bridge to the newer part. So this building right here is brand new. So now I'm going to show inside a little bit an event I attended this week, actually, Entrepreneurs Week. I was lucky enough to be a recipient of a Woman Who Empowers scholarship while I was at Northeastern, and they are very welcoming towards alums, so I attended their summit. It was great. It was like their first in-person one since COVID. They did an awesome job. So I'll show you a bit inside, and then I'll show the outside of this building. It's EXP. I forget what the exact name of it is, but it's kind of like the sister building to ISIC, and these are both really all about like technology, and it really shows Northeastern's investment in the STEM fields. So I'll show those a bit now. This is the outside of the new EXP building at night. Most of the building is dedicated towards research and scientific spaces, but the 8th floor is the executive floor where events are held. No buttons. Wow, fancy.
So much, but if it went away tomorrow, would I still be okay? Yes. And that took me a long time to get there. A lot of people, I think, with social media, especially when you are the face of your brand, if that goes away tomorrow, you're like, my life is over. Like, I don't get that validation anymore, personal experience. But then also you have to, like, with content, just kind of study like the trends, and especially with TikTok, you know.
So you'll see right behind me there is some code blue poles. These are important at college campuses. I don't know what the actual the measurement is of how far apart they should be, but if there's an emergency, it's really good to have. So as you'll see, I'm going around the ISIC building, and look at that view of the skyline right behind me. I'll cut myself out so you can see it, but awesome view of the Prudential Center. But I had a student offer to let me in. I should have brought my old Husky car to see if it worked, but I graduated so long ago that they probably cut off access. So that was awesome. So you should really see the inside of this building. This is the ISIC building, ISEC, and I will show that in a minute. But one really fun thing that just happened is I met one of the architects for not only this building, but the new building next door that I just showed the inside of for the Women Who Empower event, and he helped design the bridge and both buildings. So he was here with his grandparents, so it was awesome to meet him and talk about accessibility, and I really thought that building was super accessible, and I'm seeing this building is as well, and the design is just awesome. I love good design, especially when accessibility is in mind. So that was super fun to run into them. So now I'm going to show a little bit about this building. So this is one of the well-known features of this building, the spiral staircase. But not to worry, the elevators are right here behind it. No worries there about having to go up the spiral staircase. But it's a very scenic view for the students that do opt to go that way. And there's like a little kitchen here. I'm like shocked. I never have seen anything like this, but that's actually a really good idea because when I was on campus, so often I did bring my own food. So that's awesome. I'll show that behind me and then I'll show my way out. And this is the downstairs right here. Now back at Snell. This is a new ramp they've added, so that's good. The more ramps, the merrier. That building across was one that I went in quite a bit. It's one of the older buildings. It's still part of the tunnel system. They have a ramp there, and a lot of science classes are in there because there's a lot of big halls in there. So now we're going back towards the Curry Center because I wanted to show what it looked like from the outside, and the circle region around it. There are sometimes get-togethers and events there, so I wanted to show that space. So this is the outside of the Curry Center, and this is the area where they sometimes have events. So you can see the terrace up there where you'd be staying. And I'm going to show quickly, but there's, well, let me see. I'll show it quickly, but there's no way to get up there outside without going upstairs. There is another main entrance to Northeastern from the street, but there's no way to get there without stairs from the outside. I just wanted to show that. So there was the main entrance to Snell Library before the renovations. That was the main entrance where that flower thing is. So I'm not actually sure what they're going to do about the main entrance now. Churchill Creations. This is a lot of classroom areas over here, but also Churchill's where there is some dining options. So this is Hayden Hall over here. Here's some baseball history for you. This is a statue of Cy Young because the first World Series were actually played here on Huntington Avenue grounds, and Boston won. It was the Boston Americans, but it was demolished after the first World Series, and then they later became the Red Sox and played at Fenway Park. So this is just a nice little scenic place, but that door right there is where you can get the accessible entrance into Churchill Hall, which has some dining options. Going around over here, you'll see the Barletta Natatorium. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that is where the pool is. And you'll see some 125 decorations because this year, 2023, is Northeastern's 125th anniversary. So before I cut down there to go to the main road, I'm going to try to see what we can find up this way to the left of Hayden Hall. We're passing a sign for the Spark Fund, which is just one of many ventures Northeastern has that funds ideas that students have. The Spark Fund is all about research ideas that could be turned into a commercially viable prototype. Women Who Empower also provides grants to alumni and students. There's also the Idea Lab, which provides help for starting something from an idea onward. So Northeastern is a great hub for innovation. As you can see, Northeastern has a stop on the green line. Ruggles Station, which I'll show, is on the orange line. This is the Physical Education Center. Can't say I've ever been in there, but I'm sure people do a lot there. And then, honestly, so I think that's the natatorium pool, but there's the sports center is on the other side of the campus to the right. If I was to take a right, I'd go there. I don't know if I'll have enough time today, but just to say it is on the right. This is Huntington Ave right here. It's very busy. Make sure you look both ways when you're crossing the street here. Okay, so that area that I said was only accessible by stairs on the outside, you just had to loop around there, and here it is. So Dodge Hall, which I showed from the tunnel systems, right over there. This is L Hall, which has the auditorium, and this is Richards Hall right here. And these are all accessible with the tunnel system. So it's also good that they have signage to show the entrances that are accessible. And I should note that up there is a dorm. So that building that I just showed, and I said that was a dorm. So down by that way is Matthews Arena. That's where, you know, the hockey games take place. I'm not going to go there because I wouldn't be able to get inside. But I'll show a picture of the arena. Northeastern is a big hockey school. The hockey and the co-op are two of their biggest, you know, things that they're well known for. The co-op program is it's work experience, oftentimes paid, embedded into the curriculum. So it's not just summer internship. So that's why they have a lot of connections with companies, because they can employ a co-op student year-round. So that is a big differentiator with Northeastern. So I am going to go on the main road now and show you a bit of things across the street. The Merino gym is across the street. I'm not going to go there because, you know, a gym's a gym. It would be good for me to show the accessibility of it, but I never really went to the gym, and I don't think I'll get in without a student ID. It reminds me to take a thumbnail now, so I'm going to do that now. This is where the people take all their graduation pictures, right in front of this area here. So across the street they have some more dorms, and I don't know if you can really see from over here, but they have some wiffle ball, green monster type of signs out there for people to play wiffle ball on the lawn. So this glass building right here, across behind from the Northeastern station, is the gym, the Merino Center that I mentioned. So that's right across the street, Huntington Ave, right there. And there's also a Qdoba, and there's the Merino Center there. Here's a picture from Northeastern's website of the inside of the Merino Center. So as you can see, it's a gym. You know, they have a big track inside, so it is a nice gym, but a gym nonetheless. And now I'll show a few more sports-oriented centers of Northeastern. So here's Carter Playground, which has a soccer field and a football field, and they used to have a football team, but not anymore. Here's Matthews Arena, where not only the hockey team plays, but also the basketball team. And if they have any big concerts, like in the spring or graduation ceremonies, they also happen here. Here's the pool inside the Cabot Center. And here's the Squash Buster Center, where some intramural sports play. So this is like one of the main entrances to the school. Like for if you were driving in, at the end of this road is Ruggles. So I'm going to cross the street now while I have the chance, so I'm not waiting. But down there is Ruggles. I'll show that in a bit. But the School of Law is over here. School of Law right there. The Stern Center there is, so it says the ramp access is on Forsyth Street. That was the street with Ruggles. This is a career center here. So it is accessible once you get inside. But they're big on like street art, so that's a nice touch. They're big on murals. So computer science is a big thing now, so they definitely highlight that with this big sign here to highlight the College of Computer Science. This is one of their main buildings here. It's funny because they do have a big student population, but it is like a small world type of campus. I had told Alexa and Emma, I'm like, yeah, I'll probably run into you guys again. And I ran into Alexa and Emma like 5 minutes after I finished talking to them, and then I just ran into Alexa again. So it's pretty funny. So we are in the really dorm-centric area, I'd say. I think this is called West Village. These type of buildings behind me. So these are kind of what a lot of the dorms from the outside look like. But there's dorms kind of scattered in many places. So this is just what one of them looks like behind me. Okay, so this is just the West Village area. There's like I think it goes A through G, I'm pretty sure. So this is like now it will be a little smoother because you know, the brick is a little bit rough on the wheels, you know, a little bit of jitteriness. If it wasn't such a cold and windy day, this area would be filled with students, but as you can hear with the mic, there's a lot of wind this day and it's really hitting the face cold. Right near so this is the grocery store kind of on campus. Not super accessible. So someone was nice enough to let me inside Wollaston. So as you see, it's a little bit tight, but they pretty much have everything. So up here is actually dorms over there. This is the Baracus building where classes are held, but I see the elevator right over here to get up there. I asked a student and they confirmed that those were dorms. So yeah, there's the elevator right there. So here is the visitor center here where you would likely start if you were to do an official tour. From what I remember, it's like super futuristic on the inside of here. You can see my reflection now, but this purple wall I think is like interactive if I recall correctly. So I didn't actually even take a tour, an official tour before I went here. I took an unofficial tour where I just went around, but I didn't have my scooter and I wasn't planning on to live on campus, but it's definitely important to tour before you go to a school though. So if you need to, you know, use a mobility aid, that's, you know, what you should do to, you know, get the real feel for campus and have them show you around. So I did switch careers after college, but I took many classes in here. I was originally on the PharmD path, but then I switched. But the Baracus Health Science Center holds many classes for the Bouvet College of Health Science students. This is some very interesting architecture. That's a bench, functional architecture, functional design. Pretty cool. Just showing the mural on the side of this building. They were working on this while I was here, and it's pretty impressive. Not sure what tabling events are going on here right now. This rock gets repainted all the time. So that is Ruggles Station right there across. In this quad, a lot of students, you know, hang out here. A lot more if it's warmer, but they're still enjoying some cricket here today, which is pretty cool. This is Ryder Hall here, the College of Arts, Media and Design. This is one of the older buildings. And when I was here, they had a subway on the inside of this, but it looks to be closed today, so I'll have to look up whether it still has a subway. So I always say, like, when you visit a school is could be a make or break of whether you choose there. Like, if you visit anywhere in the fall in New England when it's like really nice trees, if it was a nice day, you'll like think the campus is like 10 times more beautiful than it is on a regular day. But Northeastern, I'd say, is a very scenic campus for a city school. It does have a lot of green spaces, as you see, and I will show some foliage now. Right now is mid-November, and we still got some very nice foliage right near Ruggles Station. And by the way, I ran into a very friendly Northeastern student who confirmed they do still have that subway in Ryder Hall. So it's kind of good to have some, you know, comfort food options around. So this is a general map of Fenway and Kenmore. These are the areas of Boston that Northeastern is in. It's technically in the Back Bay neighborhood of Boston, but the Fenway is the more specific name for this area. this is Ruggles Station here. This is an orange line stop on the T. And then there's other, buildings. If you go through Ruggles, there's other housing for students that you can find if you go through there. And if you look down here, there is a pathway down that will lead you towards many buildings that I already went in, but if you keep going down, this is like a kind of secret passageway straight to Matthews Arena. As you can see, the brown there was the bridge over to the ISIC building, and if you keep going straight down, you'll reach Matthews Arena. So this is a building where I had some freshman orientation things, so there's like a meeting hall in there, and Egan, I think it's Egan Research Center, but they mix and match where they put things. Just because it's called, a research center doesn't mean it's all research in there. So before I go back to Shulman Hall to show the map one final time and call it a day, I'll just show a little bit over here that we missed just being inside. So Northeastern has a very strong veterans office. So they have this memorial here for veterans. So here is the back of the Veterans Memorial here. It has the names and years of alumni of Northeastern, and this does light up at night. But if you are a veteran, particularly a disabled vet, if you're watching this vlog on this channel, definitely look into Northeastern if you're looking to continue your education, because I know they've really invested in and expanded their veterans office, which is great. So definitely check into it if you are a veteran. So this is the Snell Engineering Building and Egan, just from other entrances. But I'm gonna go under that bridge because people just do, and nobody really knows why. One day you go under it, one day you don't. But it just depends on your mood, I think. Or that was just me. But I'll just give you the full experience. As you can see, it's kind of, scientific, some coding going on. So red eye there, as you can see, that's an option to get some rides off of campus, particularly at nighttime to be safe. But looking down here, this is Forsyth Street. There, at the very top there was where I crossed the street. You'll see I believe that's the Latinx Student Cultural Center right there with a colorful mural. And there's a few more buildings down there for classes and whatnot. I'm gonna cross now. This is new. I don't know what this is. All electric rides coming soon. $3 per rider. I don't know if this is a campus-centric thing, but something to check out. So this building, Shulman Hall, looks to be closed now, but it looks different than when I was here. I'll try to zoom in. There was a Dunkin' Donuts in here. The building's closed, so I'm not sure if it's still in there. And there's also one near Richards Hall. So there's more than one Dunkin's on campus. The accessible doors right here, but unfortunately people put chairs right next to the button. So with the button being blocked by the chairs, that's just kind of people not being super mindful, whoever put them there. I don't know, but yeah, so that's just something. If you're not disabled and you're watching, just don't block the buttons, don't block any accessible entrances. Just something to keep in mind. Confirming through the window, they still have Dunkin' Donuts in there, so that's good to know. So like I mentioned, it's the 125th anniversary. I think these are just student groups tabling outside. So yeah, we've got that right there. So this is new. I'll have to edit in the name of the squad, or I'll find it on the sign over there and correct myself. But since I've been here, they've kind of expanded their offerings over here for entertainment. So I saw they have this like lighting thing over here. So I think they have like concerts and shows out here. So that's a cool option to utilize that green space. But yeah, that's definitely new since I've been here that they've expanded that. And of course, got to, take a little bit of a selfie with Showman and his cat. So this is like covered by leaves. I'm surprised it's not more of like a photo op spot. I don't really think it is. But yeah, Showman and his cat. So now I will just show the information center. So I'm in front of the information center right here, but it's funny because that's the same one as when I was there, because I had a PDF on my phone that I use all the time, but it's actually not up to date. Like, it doesn't have ISIC and all of that, so I don't know if the students get their own. But yeah, it has obviously the majority of things. So if you like take a picture of this, or I'm sure the information center can offer a more up-to-date map than this. To recap the vlog, I hope that you enjoyed this full campus tour with the tunnel system. I tried to go to as many places as possible, but of course I didn't go in every building, every floor, but some of it is just similar to a regular dorm room, like a regular classroom. Some of it's would get repetitive. I showed the majority of things. Like, a few areas I didn't show were more of past Snell Library, and that in the back. There's a way to get into the Curry Center that way, through the tunnel system that way. So that's like one of the only areas I can think of that I didn't show. Like Herding Hall, if you're looking at a map, shows towards the end of the campus. I'll show that on the map in a second. That's where a lot of the science labs are, but from the outside it's a very boring building. And when I went there, it was very old, so I don't know if they've ever updated that, but some of the, lab buildings, it's kind of, it's nice to update them, but then sometimes, like when you're in an elevator, you'll see people just having jugs of urine because, doing experiments and whatnot. So, it makes sense that it happens in the older buildings. So I'm not sure if they've ever updated that building. I also do all types of other vlogs, Disney World, Disney Cruise, San Diego, and many places in the Boston area. So if you're thinking of going to school in the Boston area, I have tons of vlogs in this area, places that you can go, for free if you go to Northeastern. The MFA, the Museum of Fine Arts, is like practically right across the street off of Huntington. You can go for free. And if you get a Boston Public Library card, plenty of other places you can go for free or discounted. So check out that vlog as well. So now we will talk to two members of Northeastern's Disability Alliance Club. I'm here with Emma and Alexa from Northeastern's Diversability Club. So do you guys want to just give us a quick introduction?
Hi everyone, my name is Alexa Rand. I'm a third year here at Northeastern. I'm majoring in music industry with a minor in psych. And my main kind of plan post undergrad is to hopefully work in the music industry and try to tackle like accessibility with like concert venues.
Hi everyone, my name is Emma. I'm a third year studying public health, and I am still figuring out what I want to do after I graduate, but I definitely want to apply to the +1 MPH program, and then after that I'm definitely passionate about pursuing a career at the intersection of public health and disability justice. So still figuring out what that looks like, but something in that area.
Can I ask why you chose Northeastern?
Ooh. I think, to be honest, when I was in high school, I was like very obsessed with like the concept of going to a prestigious college, and one of those options was Northeastern. But also like I'm very interested in like music, but I think both like pressure from my family and also just like from myself, I wanted like an academic side. And out of the colleges I picked, like Northeastern was the only one that had like a balance between like that musical kind of culture and also like academics, so I was able to do both.
I think for me there was a lot of reasons. Obviously we're both third years, and I think COVID definitely played a big role in the decision making process for me. I didn't really get to tour a lot of schools before COVID, and like 2 weeks before COVID hit, I came to Boston with my parents and my friend, and we toured like some of the main Boston schools. So Northeastern was one of the only schools I even got to see in person. So knowing that definitely factored into my decision making, just because I got to see like in person what the physical accessibility of the campus looked like, and it wasn't awful. Not the best, but it was better than some other places, and I felt more comfortable going to a school that I was able to look at in person. I think also like academic rigor was a factor as well, because Northeastern's up there is a good school these days. And I also think for me, like, medical-wise, that definitely factored into the decision-making process just because I have a rare disease, and it was important for me to be in a city, and also Boston Children's Hospital is close by, and they have one of the, I think, the best vascular anomaly centers in the world, so that was a plus for coming to Northeastern and knowing that I would be able to continue getting quality medical care there as well.
I'm a little bulb in my head as well. I completely forgot that's why.
And I was like,
when I was younger, like, my main healthcare provider was Boston Children's. That's where, like, all my main doctors were. And my parents were like, oh, that's 6 minutes away from the school. We'll let you go. So, yeah.
Well, that answered my second question was gonna be how much did your disability play in your choice? So, but I'm surprised none of you said co-op, because that's like what you're supposed to say. You know, everything comes back to co-op.
I know. I was going to
know?
say co-op. Co-op was a good experience. You haven't done a co-op yet?
No.
So
I just got mine.
Oh, congrats.
we'll talk about that.
Congrats.
Yeah, co-op was definitely, it did factor into the decision-making process. Because I thought that obviously that would be good to, like, make connections. So I did get to work at Boston Children's, which was a very full circle experience, and I later found out my parents' ultimate goal for me was, like, coming to Northeastern and working there after having been a patient there when I was, like, a little kid.
Aww.
So it was full circle. It was a good experience.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't think just because being disabled, it wasn't the first priority for me. It was just a nice plus.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about diversibility?
Yes.
My favorite thing to talk about.
So, diversibility began with a young woman named Joanna Murdoch, who was a freshman at the time. We're all in the same year. And she basically went to Fall Fest, and she found that it was just incredibly inaccessible. And like Joanna does, she's a very stubborn and very driven person. She's like, I will not stand for this. So what does she do within her first week of being at university? She basically files to create a new club organization, as one does. Love ambition. And then she went on Reddit to talk about it and basically connected with this senior named Marley Robinson, and they basically collaborated and began diversibility. And then I found the club through a flyer, like, right next to my class in Ryder, and technically they were illegally put up, but that's okay. But we need to talk more about it.
I found the club later than you did, because otherwise I feel like I maybe would have applied for you from the jump, but I didn't know about it. But I found out about the club through one of my professors, actually, who sent me a link to the Diversibility Instagram over winter break.
Okay.
Because she was like, I saw that you, like, looked upset at the end of the semester. I know, like, we were very close, and she was like, I know things haven't been great for you, like, navigating being disabled in higher education. She was like, this made me think of you, like, I think you should check it out. So I did when I came back from the winter break, and the people were great. But in terms of, like, who we are as a club and what we do, I would say our main mission is to just empower the disabled community here at Northeastern, and also just in the broader Boston area as well. I think our main goals, we kind of have three main components to our goals. The first one is, like, education, so just educating disabled students at Northeastern, and also, more importantly, the broader student population about all things disability related. We also are trying to just improve the experience of disabled students at Northeastern, so we do that through, like, awareness campaigns, contacting the DRC and bringing them student concerns, things like that. And then we also are really big on collaboration, so that includes both like administrative offices on campus, like the Center for Student Involvement, the DRC, but also other, like, advocacy and justice oriented groups on campus. So we've worked with NU Pride, we've worked with Signing Huskies, which is the interpreting club here on campus, and a lot of other groups as well, and Allied, which is a initiative or group on campus that was started by a professor in the College of Engineering. So we just did an event with them on Friday. So trying to work with a lot of groups on campus that are all doing similar work to us, so we can kind of form coalitions and work together moving forward.
Can you tell us a little bit about how living on campus has gone?
Living on campus is interesting. My freshman year I lived in International Village, which was definitely a nice building. I lived on the 15th floor, which for me, I liked the view, but in terms of, like, disability-wise and safety-wise, probably wasn't the brightest choice, but I didn't make that choice. They did put me in there, and I didn't think to request a lower floor. But accessibility, I was in the wheelchair accessible room at the end of the hall, which was probably like 2 times the size of like some of the other rooms, and I shared a bathroom with the person next to me, which was fine, but I do have an accommodation for a private bathroom, so even though it wasn't like a communal bathroom, which I was grateful for, it was still a little bit of a struggle navigating that. And also I had some issues being on the 15th floor with like fire alarms going off and trying to figure out what do I do? Where do I go from here? So that was definitely a problem, but overall it was a pretty good experience. And then the past 2 years I've lived in Willis, which has been fine for the most part. I lived on the 4th floor last year, which was fine. I didn't really have too many issues with fire alarms and things like that. And I had a roommate, and we each had our own room, and we had a big wheelchair accessible room, bathroom, kitchen. So I would say overall it was pretty accessible. And I still live in that building on the 1st floor this year, which is great safety-wise because there was a fire that happened this year. But I do miss the view, sadly. But I would say the only thing that's really been a problem for me is the push button to get into the room. Because it's a wheelchair accessible dorm, there is a push button, but there's only one on the inside, so like when you're leaving the dorm, but there's not one on the outside for like safety reasons. Obviously I understand that, but I don't really need it when I'm like leaving the room. It would be much easier to have it like when I'm going in, if I'm carrying laundry or groceries or things like that. It's literally impossible to open, so I think that is definitely something that they could improve on. But aside from that, I'd say it's been a pretty good experience, and I'm glad that I was able to live on campus, because finding wheelchair accessible housing off campus in Boston is just, it's impossible. So even though it's not perfect, I'm still glad that they're providing it to me.
I know for me, like my main accommodations are like elevators and like air conditioning.
Yeah.
And so I've lived in East Village my freshman year. It was on the 10th floor. I conveniently missed all the fire drills. I don't know how I managed to do that, but thank God, because like the health state I was in at that time, like I would not be making it down those 10 flights of stairs. And then my second year, I lived in Willis, which I would argue, at least for my specific, I have heart disease, and so like my main battle is like stairs and like lung function. And so in terms of that, I think the most accessible dorm I've been in is Willis. I was on the 2nd floor, and the elevators and like the stairs are very clearly like marked when you walk in. So it's not like you have to like, you don't know where the elevator is, because I know that's kind of like the difficulty in some like lecture halls, is like you don't know that there's an accessible entrance because it's just not like presented. And that was pretty okay. My only thing is sometimes like the heating / AC situation is very foul. I requested air conditioning, and when like it went to drawing, like when it went to get my accessible housing and you have like that early meeting, they're like stingy almost with like giving you accessible accommodate, even if like you have them approved. And it was bad that I literally told the person in charge of my housing, I was like, I need something. I need an apartment that actually has air conditioning, because I was sticking my head in a freezer like my last year. And I was like, I shouldn't have to prove that. And then they're like, you should be telling us this. And I was like, I did. And then I just also want to say to the Willis dorm, why does your elevator keep breaking down?
Exactly. It breaks down all the time.
Like, speaking of the elevators, like I did notice they would break, in classes too when I was here. Like, so I felt like facilities, but this was during the day, was pretty good. Like, it would tend to be like an hour turnaround, like by the time I got out of class. Would you say that's good, like living on campus too, or more weekdays it was better?
I'd argue maybe I just noticed it more last year because I was going through it. But like the dorm I'm in right now has 3 elevators, so even if one breaks down, like there's definitely one that still works, which is wonderful. Like there's never been a situation where I had to use the stairs. But at least last year it was a major issue where like it would go like the full day, it felt like, without them going to it. And like I'm a CAMD student, my main building is Ryder, and it was worst.
Yeah.
It would always shut down, and it was during a point where like I could not exert myself, or like I would faint, and I would have to like trudge up like 3 flights of stairs, and my parents would be like yelling at me on the phone like, Alexa, I'm like, I have to go to class. So I feel like it's declined a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. This year I haven't noticed it as much just because I live on the first floor of Willis, so I only need to take the elevator in the dorm building when I'm like doing my laundry or something. So I haven't noticed it as much there, but last year was definitely a problem.
It was bad.
Because Willis only has 2 elevators, and they're not the best, but Ryder is definitely where I've noticed a lot of problems. Ryder and L Hall, I feel like.
In the older buildings?
Yeah, they're constantly breaking down. And also, Ryder only has 1 elevator that's like open to the public. But
and everyone wants to use it with their portfolios. What advice, if any, would you have for high school students with disabilities looking into college in general?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a good question. I feel like the first thing, I think touring the schools in person if you can is definitely really important. I mean, obviously depending on what type of disability you have. I didn't get to do that because of COVID, and I think had I toured more schools, I might have found schools that might have been more accessible than Northeastern. I don't know. So I would recommend that. I would also say, if you can afford to find other like college counselors outside of your high school, maybe look into that, because my high school college counselors were not the best to begin with, let alone when it came to like disability consciousness at universities. They had no idea what they were doing. So my parents like spoke to some other people that I think were more helpful. I would say also trying to like, this is hard in high school, but trying to find like other disabled people in your high school or like disabled friends in your community that you can talk to that are like going through the same college application process. That was definitely a big help for me, because I knew some disabled people that had applied to college before or were in my high school that were applying at the same time. So we kind of got to share information, stuff like that we weren't getting from our college counselors.
No, I mean, I agree. I'd say also, like, on a very basic level, because I know I didn't do this when I was applying to college, please consider disability as a factor when applying to college. I know, like, when you're in high school, and, like, we've all done it, we're like, no, it's not going to affect me. And I think especially if you have, like, if you're, like, maybe, like, people can't technically see that you're disabled from the outside, so you think you can camouflage it, like, you're just going to save yourself so much, like, exhaustion and just, like, frustration if it's even just in the back of your mind. Because I know when I came to Northeastern, like, I came trying to just function as a normal, normal's not the best word, but just as, like, a
typical
able-bodied, an able-bodied individual, and I just got, like, it was, I just had, like, so humbled in my first semester when I realized, like, I can't be doing this, like, I can't continue living like this for 4 years. So I would say, like, please, just know, like, in the back of your mind, even if you're not comfortable with it now, think of, like, ways you can just make your life easier, especially if there's options to do that.
Yeah, and I would also say I feel like in college you have to be much more comfortable being able to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
That was a big wake-up call for me, because I think in high school and elementary school and middle school, like, accommodations were just something that was a given, it was provided. So I didn't, I mean, obviously I still had to advocate in some ways, but it was mostly more my teachers, my parents that were responsible for that. But coming to college, accommodations are not given unless you, like, go through a lengthy process to get them and you ask for them outright. I didn't know that I had to, like, request an accessible desk to be placed in my classrooms. I, like, spent 2 months, like, typing notes and holding textbooks on my lap in class because I didn't know that that was something I needed to ask for, and that it wasn't just going to be there, because obviously college, your classes aren't in one academic building, like one school. They're all across campus, so you have to be willing to advocate for accommodations if you're comfortable doing that, which is something that a lot of people aren't comfortable doing with because they haven't had to do it before.
Thank you so much, guys, for participating today, and I'm sure everyone will really enjoy all your insights. So, okay, thank you. Thank you so much to Emma and Alexa for joining. Thank you so much for watching this vlog. If you can think of any questions, comment them below. Hopefully me or someone else can answer them. And if you enjoyed this vlog, make sure you subscribe and like, And if you have any suggestions in the Boston area where I should go, even other colleges, I definitely hope to make this a series because I think it's important to talk about higher education and the accessibility, challenges that many students face, because that really relates to the upward mobility of disabled people in society as a whole, because education is a big key to success. We want to make it accessible to everyone. And, I think just providing information that, disabled people can go to college, they do go to college, and they, can and are very successful is important. So I definitely want to spread that message, and I plan to add more in this series. So if you want me to come to your school, if you want me to do a particular school, let me know in the comments. Thanks so much.